Hello, and welcome to the official tutorial series for how to do boxxies and Ratchet and Clank up your arsenal. If you don't know what a boxxy is, it's a method of launching Ratchet across the map by sucking up boxes, but not all the way, and then re-equipping the suck cannon, and that's how you get the launch. So, I did say tutorial series, and that's because this will not be the only video on how to do boxxies. I have about 2 or so more videos that I want to make at some point, because not all boxxies are done the same. So some boxxies are done by sucking them up and adjusting to a setup. Others are done by restarting from a checkpoint in order to keep the box in a specific spot. I will be covering the second type of boxxy in this video, and I'll be talking about which categories each one is present in, so that way if you decide to learn a specific one, you'll know whether you're wasting your time learning it or not. Now, a few things to note about boxxies. First of all, the suck cannon, you want it to be V1 through V4. If you have the vortex cannon, that is not good. You should change that on your file, either by downloading a new one. You can maybe use Rackman to downgrade your weapon, but you do not want the vortex cannon. V1 through V4 won't change anything, but V5 and above will. So, another thing is that the weapon that Ratchet holds prior to re-equipping the suck cannon will affect his launch. So as you can see here, the shot cannon and the suck cannon, as well as a few other weapons, are held up with 2 hands. But a weapon like the N60 Storm or the Quacko Ray is held with 1 hand up. His Omni Wrench as well as the Plasma Whip are held with both hands down. I'll be making these specifications whenever necessary, so pay close attention to which type of weapon I hold out, or I'll just tell you which type you want out. So the final thing to note is that pretty much any boxxy can be done in either lock strafe or third person mode. I prefer lock strafe for pretty much all of these, and that's what I'll be teaching. If you want to learn them in third person, you can eventually do that, but it is a little bit more difficult in my opinion. The only one that I probably won't be teaching in lock strafe is, well, this very first one, VR Boxxy, baby's first boxxy. So this is a widely misunderstood strat, boxxies in general, not just this one. So I think it's important that we have a resource to cover as much of it as possible. So now, how do we do the boxxy? Well, first, let's enter VR simulation. And let's just start by sucking up a box. It's as simple as holding circle and then pressing triangle to the quick switch once you see the box moving. Then you can re-equip the suck cannon and then swap away again. To make this process a little bit easier, as you're sucking up the box, I recommend you're walking away from it. So you might not have this luxury with every boxxy, but for this one you absolutely do. So I'm walking away, and yeah. The reason why you want to re-equip the suck cannon the second time, as you saw just now, is because it makes the box a little smaller, which will launch us a little bit faster. And now for actually re-equipping the suck cannon. So, if you want a reference point on where to look, here, I'm going to actually swap to lock strafe for this, just so I can use the reticle as reference. I'm also going to have to continuously restart this because of the test dummies, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. So turn over this way, and now you see this like, okay, you see how right here where my reticle is pointing, it kind of looks like a 4, like the way you'd see 4 on a analog clock or a digital clock. I forget which one, but you know what I mean. But yeah, this spot where you see that it kind of looks like a 4 here, I'll actually equip the flux rifle. Okay, I guess that looks more like a 9, but you get my point. This specific set of lines, this would be a good spot to look at. Roughly around this spot. Try not to look further to the right of that though, like try not to look at this corner, because you might not get sent to the spot that we want to be sent to. And then try not to look too far to the left, or else you'll get sent into the course. And while you can still make it to the end, it loses a lot of time, and in any percent categories you're gonna need to do like some camera movement that you might not be able to pull off as a beginner. So yeah, so look this way, and now for the double jump. This is like the most difficult part, Everything else you're gonna get down just fine, but the double jump, it's gonna take you a couple tries. So I'll show you this in lock strafe. So you're gonna do the double jump. Now some people like to use the pause menu to do some of these boxies. I don't recommend that you use the pause menu for pretty much any of these, because I have messed around with this just a little bit to see like, okay, how would a beginner be able to do this, and I was getting really bad results. I was never able to pause on a good frame, and if I did get the launch, it would never give me a good amount of height. So I would say you might as well just start doing pretty much all of these without pausing. I think there's like one or two that, yeah, it's actually somewhat of a viable strat. But don't do it for like this one, honestly. Just learn the timing. And the timing is, so this is the double jump animation. Alright, you're familiar with it. So when Ratchet's body straightens after like the double jump is complete, so somewhere just a little bit after this, kind of like closer to this. Again, if you're planning on using pause strats for this, that might not be a good visual cue for you, because you might not get a good launch or a launch at all. So that was just more so you kind of get an idea what I mean when I say Ratchet's body is straightened again, like that. So somewhere around that time frame is when you want to re-equip the suck cannon. So, and it'll look something like this. And voila, that's a boxy for you. That was a really good boxy too. Sheesh. So now let me show you what that looks like in third person, because like I said, I do recommend that, stupid autosave, that you do this in third person. I will also teach you how to maneuver properly as you're being launched. So the camera is a little more finicky in third person. You don't get like, you might find yourself like doing this a lot. So by the way, for the most part, for most of these boxes, it doesn't really matter where you stand. If it does matter, I will specify that, but to my knowledge, none of the boxies that will be shown in this video function any differently based on where you stand. And if you want to readjust Ratchet, by the way, it's as easy as holding strafe, getting on the box. Okay, maybe you don't like your angle, so use like, just move the camera and maybe jump if you need to, if you don't see Ratchet reposition. I was about to say, where the hell did the test dummies go? So yeah, so just keep that in mind. So now, of course, showing off the timing is a little bit, okay, yeah, that one, I completely fumbled. Of course, showing the timing off is not going to be enough for, like, pretty much anyone. So what I recommend doing is, I recommend rewinding this video and looking closely at the moment that, the weapon icon on the top left switches to show the suck cannons icon. And then just kind of, like, analyze that a little bit. So as I said, when Ratchet's body straightens. Now, as you saw just now, I had like a weird thing happen where I obviously didn't get the launch, but I did have Ratchet kind of turn in a weird way, and this is because I re-equipped the suck cannon too early. So let me show off. Oh, I have not done that like ever. Holy shit. So let me once again show off what it looks like when you do it too early. This is what it's like when you do it too early. So yeah. Now if you do it too late, this kind of depends on which boxy we're talking about. For some, you might just, I'm not entirely sure. It all depends on like the boxy, although usually I've never seen myself get any negative results from a later launch. Okay, in that case, that actually was late. Holy shit. Usually, though, if you get that, the weird thing, it's because you did it, like, early. But that is, like, the first time I'm ever, like, seeing this, like... You have a really lenient timing. Like, that one, I purposefully tried to, get it late and not hit it. But some of the other boxies are not so forgiving. So, I'm going to try one more time to show off what it looks like if it's too late. You got a really big time frame, though. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, that one I just got a bad launch. But I still made it because I'm a fucking gamer. Holy shit, dude. That was fucking sweet. Okay, so now that you've got like the idea of what timing you want, let me show off the movement that you want to be doing. Because if you keep Ratchet in place the whole time, like you don't move on the analog stick, you might, that might not be good. So I'll use lock strafe to kind of demonstrate what you want to. This is roughly what it'll look like if you just don't move at all. So you'll kind of go here, and yeah, you could end up in the spot you want, or you could bounce. I bounced off like a slope right there, so. The second you get launched, by the way, because you did notice that I started gliding, and you might be wondering, when exactly should I do that? The second you get launched. So, don't hesitate. Once you know you've got launched, yeah. So the way you want to hold your left analog stick, and this is true of both third person and lock strafe, is holding it to the right. So I think I actually hold like a slight upright when I do it in third person. I don't think about this stuff like because it's so ingrained in my muscle memory now. So let me do this like right now. Okay, yeah, I kind of hold like slightly upright. But when should I stop gliding? Because obviously you don't want to glide the whole way, or else you're gonna like overshoot, not make it into the room. So I'm gonna give you one final example so that you can see when you want to like stop gliding. I'll tell you when I usually stop gliding. So turning the camera. Okay, that's something that can happen if you are too far to the left. So yeah, that's why you want to start like moving right. I know this is a lot of yapping for just one boxy, but this will help you for pretty much any of these boxies, so it is important that you like, and because again, this is probably the first boxy you're learning, so as much info as you can get will probably be something that you'll appreciate. So about a second after I passed through that wall, you saw how there were those dynamo targets that function as platforms, and then there was that wall behind them. About a second or so after I pass through them is when I start letting go of glide. Alternatively, you can also choose to like wait until you see the green teleporter. That could also be a good timing. I usually do it like just before I see it. So if you do wait to see the green teleporter, that could be a little bit risky, but I guess you could kind of anticipate seeing it. I don't really know. But I usually wait about like a second after I pass through, and then that's when I know I can start letting go. So yeah. One final thing to note is that if you are playing any percent, all titanium bolts, all collectibles, or 100%, this boxy is actually a little bit easier because right here there is a titanium bolt, and the hitbox of that will obviously just pull you in. And of course, try not to land on the sides of the teleporter or like the ridges of this platform. I don't know about this green box if this does anything, but yeah, try to avoid that because then you'll get the bounce and you'll have to start the whole thing all over. You won't even have the luxury of the end challenge. So next up, onto Daxx. Alright, so here we are on planet Daxx. So there are actually two boxies on this planet, but again, I'm only going to be teaching this one right here. So something important to know about boxies is that breaking boxes in a level can make some of these just not work the way we want them to. So because we do this boxy off of a health crate, you have to be careful to not break any health crates. So the boxy that we do is right from the start. It's next to our ship, and it will take us right here. So that makes it mostly easy to avoid breaking any health crates. But there are two right here. So if you happen to like land and the warship is facing this way, you do risk breaking. You are very likely to break these health crates, and that's going to mess with the boxy. It won't necessarily render it impossible, but you'll have to like do like an extra process. You'll have to like repeat the process to make it work. I don't quite remember anymore. So if this happens, I recommend you just turn around and take the time loss and wait for the warship to turn around, and you can just kill it that way. I also recommend standing on this back half of the platform as you're doing the fight. Try not to stand over on that front half, or else you could destroy that box, that health crate, which you don't want. So another thing to note is that the checkpoints here are a little bit funky. So when I restart the checkpoint, unlike VR, we don't have the luxury of an option in the menu. We have to take a death. Sometimes, more often than not, you'll spawn over at the platform rather than here. If you see me spawning here, that's just, I don't know how this planet's checkpoints work. Now, one final thing. For the Boxxy to get from the ship, from the spawn, all the way to the warship, you should have the plasma whip out. Now, this Boxxy is otherwise similar to VR Boxxy, but you might think, like, is the plasma whip going to affect anything? Should I just swap to the shot cannon? No, don't have the shot cannon out. Believe me, you can do the exact same timing as you did with VR Skip, and it will work perfectly fine. So we're going to be doing this one using the plasma whip. And for this one, I'll be going into log strafe because that's just how I'm used to doing it. So, suck up the box, and now we're going to take a death in the water. Make sure you are not holding the suck cannon when you touch the water, or else the box pretty much instantly becomes suck cannon ammo. So now, get on the health crate, and now if you're wondering where you should look at, let me pull out the suck cannon, the shot cannon, so that I can use its reticle. You see this dome right here? This, like, here, actually let me pull out the flux rifle. This ball thing, and then right underneath it is this iron bar. Yeah, that's where you want to look. So now you're going to do the exact same timing as you did for VR Boxxy. Waiting for Ratchet to straighten his body. And voila. So now let me actually oh crap. What the fuck? Why was I in the air? I don't know. Okay, so first I'm gonna try and trigger an autosave real quick. Okay, I don't know why. Oh, there we go. I just want to make sure that it saves my checkpoint here, so suck up the box. So now, yeah, as you can imagine, this is just the exact same as VR Boxxy. If you're good at VR Boxxy, you'll be good at this. So how about that movement? What movement should I do? I hold upright on the left analog stick, and I don't actually start gliding until Ratchet appears to be somewhat parallel with those yellow lights. So these lights right here, I wait, and during like the process of like gliding, I wait until like I see Ratchet's body kind of align with them, like kind of on the same like horizontal axis. That's pain. So I'll kind of pause to give you a little visual cue for it. So around right here, that's when I would start gliding. Like, yeah, it kind of looks like Ratchet's like on a similar horizontal axis. I forget if it's the X or Y axis. And then, oh shit, okay, whoa. That has never happened to me before. What the fuck? I have never seen that. I know there are ways to get bounces in that room, but I've never seen that one before. Holy shit, dude. Ideally, that's not going to happen to you. Also, shout out to the Ring doorbell camera thing. Wow. Anyway, so as I was saying, if you start gliding and you're holding like upright, actually I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I am saying that just so you remember, you should just hold upright for the movement. The slope should just give you enough height and you can make it into the final room. If needed, you can do a hyper strike. Ah, bad height right there, bad angle. So I do want to show this off one more time, and then we'll move on to the next Boxxy. There we go. Cool. So that is Boxxy 2 on Daxx. Oh yeah, I fucking said I was gonna mention which category each boxy is useful for. So VR boxy is useful for like every category, all of them except New Game Plus, obviously. This one is only useful for New Game Plus no QE. Maybe it's useful in some category extensions, I'm not really sure, but right now I'm just talking main board categories. Yeah, that totally makes up for forgetting to say it. But yeah, this boxy, you don't need to worry about it unless you are specifically learning New Game Plus no quit exploit. So now, on to the next one. Alright, boxy number 3, Metropolis. So, first of all, I need to make a very big and important disclaimer. If you are going to learn this boxy, you should also learn the first boxy to get from the ship to right here. So, I know I don't have a tutorial up for that yet. I'll try and get one out at some point. But if you do charge boot movement to get from the ship to Clank, don't bother with this boxy. I know at least one runner that learned that the hard way. In fact, if you end up doing charge boot movement and you break the wrong box or something goes wrong, you can actually hard lock the game doing this shit. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So once you defeat Clank, you can take this moment to equip the Suck Cannon and the N60 Storm. This boxy is useful for New Game Plus no quit exploit and any percent. If you're running any percent, you would purchase the N60 Storm at the same time that you purchase the Plasma Whip, which is on the second visit of Daxx. And it's not going to affect the Bolt route at all. You'll still be able to buy the Agents of Doom later on. So, if you want, you can wipe out the enemies here when you're done in any percent. That would be with like the Shot Cannon probably. In New Game Plus, that would be with the Plasma Storm. Although beware that there is going to be an extra dropship that comes in. Sometimes it doesn't show up for me. I don't really know what causes that. It is... There might be a chance that the Tyrannoids like break the box that we want. So I mean, if you're not like good at setting this up fast, if you think you're going to take a little bit to set it up, yeah, I guess you could kill them. But for me, nowadays, I don't bother like at all. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So first, once you're done, you're going to spawn around here, turn around, charge and fire. And then this box is a little bit of a pain in the ass to suck up. Like, look at this crap. Watch. Look, I am... There we go. Like, I was like right next to it and it wasn't like going in. So, a little solution. There's two things you can do. One, go in first person and look up and then do this. Or jump and start sucking it up. And then afterwards, do the same thing you do for like Daxx, take the Death Abuse, make the box a little smaller in the process. So basically cycle through all your weapons. Turn around and then charge and fire. Unless you're like facing like this way, which you probably aren't, you're not going to break the box with your N60 shot, so don't worry. So now, jump on. You can do a little long jump from there to here if you want. Get on the box, and now where you want to look. You see where my reticle is pointing at right now. This set of like 2 iron bars. And then you see this gravity boot ramp right here. I kind of look right here in between the two. And again, the timing is the exact same as VR Boxxy / the other Daxx Boxxy. Watch. And boom. Oh yeah, by the way, be careful for the ships. So I'm going to purposely take a death here. Oh wait. I already have the guns I need. So get on the box and look here. Now you can do this with like the shot cannon, by the way, if that was ever like a concern, but it's so fucking slow. Like you get like no fucking speed at all. So do this one more time. Wait for Ratchet's body to straighten, not strengthen, but straighten. And then like start holding left as you're making it to the end. So I'm just gonna take a death with Rackman there. It's gonna be like fucking 40 minutes long. Jesus. So jump on this. Oops. From my experience, once I get on the box, the Tyrannoids shots, like the 3-eyed that are right like here in the courtyard, they don't usually get me, so I'm usually fine. Sometimes I might take a hit, but like I can just get back up and try again. So yeah, stand like around, look right here, I mean. And yeah, like before, where you stand on the box shouldn't matter. Yep. And then hold left. And if you want, oh yeah, by the way, don't bounce on the rail. Make sure you're ready to press triangle. Like, be ready to press triangle. I kind of forgot to specify that. I was gonna say, while you're gliding to your ship, you can use this time to like swap camera controls if you want. You could do this in third person, same for Daxx, Boxxy, but again, there's like no reason to. I always set myself to lock strafe before I even land on Metropolis. Whenever I'm on the Phoenix charging in my ship, I always go to lock strafe. I do the Boxxy, the first one in lock strafe. I defeat Clank in lock strafe, even in any percent. And I'm still in lock strafe for this, so yeah. So when should you start gliding for this one? I mean, this one's kind of self-explanatory. But yeah, just get... Oh, shit! Holy shit! I actually fucking failed to press triangle challenge. Holy crap. Dude, I'm able to, like, do boxies, like, pretty much 100% consistently, but I can't fucking get inside the ship. That, by the way... So, I rarely get bounces for VR, Daxx. For Metro, though, yeah, it is possible that you end up, like, bouncing or something. So, just, yeah, get ready to, you know... What happens if I come out of this? Okay, yeah, my momentum's completely stopped. So, next Boxxy. This one's going to be a little bit of a much different type of thing. Alright, so this is the final Boxxy that I'll teach that is currently used in runs. There is one more that I want to show off, but yeah. So this is Aridia Boxxy. This one is only useful in all titanium bolts. Sadly, it's not even used in all collectibles or 100%. So, this one is also done with the N60 Storm, similar to the Metropolis Boxxy. And in all titanium bolts, you would buy it when you arrive to Aridia, so not on the Daxx revisit. So, let me get my weapons out in the right order. Also, you may see that my quick select is a little different to what it was before. First of all, I just set this up with Rackman, because my NG Plus file, for whatever reason, couldn't do the Boxxy at all. And also because this is like the where these weapons would be in an all titanium bolt speed run. So yeah, I just wanted to simulate that. Similarly, this is where my camera controls are, but yeah. So on this one, I would still recommend being in lock strafe. You could do this in third person, but this one is quite a difficult Boxxy, and this one's not going to be done with double jumping. You can do a double jump. I know Scotto does it that way, and DDD used to do it that way, but you're going to be more successful if you do a high jump. So you want this box right here. So look in first person, and now this one is actually going to be somewhat similar to VR Boxxy because you can just end the challenge. And now for where you want to look. So I don't think it matters where you stand that much, but I think both Scotto and DDD stand on like the corner of the box. But I have had successful attempts like around standing here. So I guess if you want to be safe, just try not to stand like too close to the other boxes, if anything. So also, this Boxxy can be a pain in the ass because something I didn't mention before, since it wasn't really relevant, is that the way Ratchet is facing can actually affect, like the way Ratchet turns his head, like as you saw just now, if an enemy is nearby him, can absolutely affect the box launch. In fact, I'm going to display that right now. I'm going to show you like the example. I'm not just going to tell you, I'm going to like also show you. So and now look where it's sending me. This is not, it's supposed to send me like right there. So yeah, it's supposed to send me like over where I was like facing, but it was sent way too far to the right because the Ratchet was staring at the enemy. Once again, shout out to the Ring doorbell camera. So anyways, so pull out the N60, get on the box, and you gotta do like all this quickly. You could probably just wait for the enemies to go away, but that's slow as shit. So you see how on this archway, there's these little like dark gray U-shaped things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. this is the one you're going to point your reticle towards. And then you're going to do a high jump. And now look at the high jump animation closely. As you see at the very end, the propellers from his helipack kind of like start to shrink a little bit. Once you see them shrink, this should be a good timing. So that's what I get for trying to implement pause strategies. I don't really know like the right frame if you're going to do this with pause. I guess I could mess around with it a little bit, but I don't really think it's... I still don't think you should really try it with this one either. I don't know. I'll show you what it looks like successfully. So as you can see, like, Clank was so close to like having the entire ass helipack just put away. Like, it was almost just not visible at all. None of the rotors, propellers, whatever they're called, I'm not really sure, were like... They were just barely visible, so... Like I said, I recommend slowing this video down or like frame advancing just to get like a better idea. Would this work? Yeah, no. I really don't know how anyone does any of these with like pausing. These are really inconsistent for me, except for LDF. So if you do want to use pause strategies, you can go ahead and do that. I don't recommend it. Just learn these pause lists. It's faster and you don't have to like wait for an autosave prompt to go away if necessary. Oh yeah, one important thing that I never mentioned because it wasn't really necessary for the other boxies. You might have noticed that I kind of seem to have been mashing the L1 button. In this case it was the L1 button because it's just easier than using X, but not for every boxy. Doesn't really matter which button you glide with. So once I had gotten launched, I've been mashing L1, and that's because it just gives you a little bit of extra height. So the higher up you look, usually it gives you like more height. So if I were to like have looked lower, I probably wouldn't have gotten the same amount of height. So to kind of demonstrate that in action. My fucking dumbass forgot the whole reason I was retrying the boxy was to look lower. I'm so used to like my visual cues. I have this like all like burn into my memory. So let me try and look a little lower. I don't even know if I'll be able to like successfully get it like this. Okay, yeah, you see that? You see that shit? You see that? I had like no fucking height. So yeah, you want to look up pretty high, and the place that I looked up is a good spot for it. So once the rotors or propellers or whatever they're called go away, yeah. And then you'll eventually land down here, and voila, a shiny titanium bolt waiting for you. So there is one more boxy I'll show off, which is also useful for, which would theoretically be useful for all titanium bolts. If you don't want to do the Koros proxy, this might be worth learning. This one has still not really been used in runs yet or looked into much, so I'd say the next one, maybe take it with a grain of salt on whether you want to learn it or not. That one's a little more of a, I'm not telling you to learn this, I'm saying it's there if you want another strat. Alright, so this is the bonus boxy. So far I've had like questionable results with this one, hence why it's kind of like a bonus thing. This would be useful for all titanium bolts if you know, we were to get like a decent like setup for it. And you'll see what I mean by setup. I mean like specifically where to look, because I've not exactly gotten to where I want to with it. I've gotten close to it though, so I'll show it off. Again, this one is really unnecessary to learn at the moment. Maybe in the future we'll find a better box to utilize, but yeah, you'll start like right here. This is where like usually you spawn when you load in Koros, and you're actually going to use the explosive crate right here. Oh, I don't think that's going to affect anything if I suck up 2 boxes at once. So you do end up here, which might make things a little more complicated. Now to avoid pissing off the little bots that are going to be there, those robots, the tiny ones, if you want to know where you want to look, like roughly, look in between. There's this like bush thing right here. There's a bit of a, I forget what it's called, but it's just some bush thing. And this one, try like looking in between them. The timing for this is going to be a double jump, identical to what we've seen before. So, what the fuck? Okay, that might have been because of a, ah shit. Hey, hold on a second. I'm gonna need to like reload this file. If this doesn't work out, oh my god, I'm gonna look so dumb. You've gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay, give me a second. Alright, so guess who's back? Back again. Anyway, so as I was trying to say before, suck up this explosive box. You've gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. I love looking like an idiot trying to make my own tutorials. Anyway, so suck up the box, and roughly the same timing as the other boxy with double jumps, looking like, yeah, I guess if you wanted to position your reticle before getting on the box, then don't look in between the bushes, kind of look more towards this one. Also, yes, since this is an explosive crate, you don't have all the time in the world to swap to the suck cannon. So this isn't really a beginner tutorial, as like a beginner boxy, I mean. Well, I was kind of saying, like, this one's more so if you want an alternative. So, and then around like right here, if you kind of let go, you land in the courtyard like right here, which is a little bit better than having to go like through all the enemies. It doesn't put you in the spot with the titanium bolt, contrary to the video that Tor Bolin sent like the very first like time this was discovered. I think his file has some weird quirk with it. He probably like broke a random box which affected how it launched him, but otherwise, yeah. I've tried like looking more to the left for this one, and it just makes the boxy not work at all. So I guess here, you can just like kind of let go when you see like the courtyard, and then just charge your way over to the first bolt. So in other categories, we would just go straight to the end because we also have like the jackpot skill point. So you could just use the standard Koros boxy that you see in runs of other categories where you adapt to a shape. So yeah, that is part 1 of the boxy tutorial series. I hope this is useful to you. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment if there's something I forgot about, you know. I try to make this video as in-depth as I could, but obviously I may still forget something, so boxies are a very important strat to Ratchet 3 speedruns, and they are one of the best things to ever happen to the game. I love this game way more than I used to, and it's mainly because of boxies, and I hope that you can find some new enjoyment for the same reason. And yeah, peace out. I'll see you for part 2 whenever that happens.